Welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is the show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. Today is, you know what day it is. It's time to look at the set, and I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a while. I'm going to have a guest on. He's a legendary proportion. He is the Phoenix Nest first class member. Tom, your last name is too hard for me to say, even though we've been friends for over 5 years.
Yeah, we'll just leave it off. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit what we feel are the pieces worth getting, like we normally do. I might have some retort to Tom, but I think when it comes to the chases, we already know, we already know what's good and what's bad. Like we don't need to play around with that. So with the rest of the set, I think there's some decent things. I'm mixed bag. I'm not too super hype about this set. Are you hype about this set, Tom?
I was really excited going in, and then I realized that they were just kind of previewing like the chases and super rares, and that the rest of the set's kind of meh. So yeah, really into it.
Yeah. So when they come out the gate with the chases, and you're like, ooh, and you're like, oh no, this is bad. So let's go ahead and start off. I have a list of figures. You have a list of figures. We're not going to go through everything, and so we'll just try to go from the first figures on down until we get something worth talking about. The first figure that I even think is worth mentioning is number 5, his Kid Flash. Number 5, Kid Flash. He has the trait, when Kid Flash is given a move action after resolutions, he can use a Teen Titans ability at no cost. He's 50 points. He's 4 clicks. He's hypersonic speed, super sensitive shape change. He has improved movement, ignores elevated, and ignores hindering. He's a nice little missile you can send out there to go ping something or kill something. Or if you have some wild cards, you can send him out to do some Teen Titans team ability. And he has Perplex. He's not as good as a Wolverine. He's not as good as a super rare Cyclops, for X-Men team ability, but he's decent. What's your thoughts, Tom?
I think that's a pretty fair assessment on it. I mean, shape change and super senses comes out to about a 50-50 shot of rolling out.
Mm-hmm.
Hypersonic is never bad, and he's got 3 damage, so he breaks through, reducers. But I mean, he's not a sexy pick, but he's not a bad figure.
Right.
So yeah, I think you nailed it.
All right, what's your first pick, Tom?
My first one on the list was actually number 8, Adeline Kane.
Okay.
And, at first I kind of glossed over her, and then I thought, she's got police team ability. She's got enhancement. So, I mean, for 30 points, right there, you kind of have some value. And she's got stealth. She's a footed character, so you can use her to kind of block some lines of fire, take your shots as needed. I see her being useful for her points there. It's not like she's just a complete waste of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but the real reason why I would say pick her up, even though you may not end up using her, is actually her trait, the bring it all down around you, Slade. Basically, she chooses 2 opposing characters within 6 squares and lines of fire that have the same trait or special power put in on their cards, and choose 2 standard powers. The opposing characters can't use them. The only reason why I really like that is because we're seeing a lot of stuff where these low point figures are spammed, whether it be Floras or Pogs, whatever. We see a lot of these Groots, yeah. These low point figures where we're seeing a lot of them. So I feel like if the meta really shifts that way to where it becomes even worse, that she would be a handy figure to have in your back pocket.
That's fair. I would go back a bit for my next pick, number 6, Power Girl. Sort of similar to Flash. She starts with perplexed. She has super strength. She has that Titan Reborn thing, and she's 5 clicks, which I'm not too keen on, but it's better than 4 clicks. And I just think that she's a nice little pocket taxi perplexer slash, break a wall down for you character. Like she's like your third tier attacker. I think she's decent, and she's usable. She's not the best, but again, if this was 3 to 4 years ago and someone told me it's like, hey, I got a decent attacker for you and it perplexes and it can be a taxi, most people would be like, yeah, I'm down for that. So that's my thoughts.
I think you're being generous, but she's not terrible.
Yeah, she's not terrible. That's another way of putting it too.
Yeah.
All right, what's your next pick, Tom?
My next one is something I haven't actually heard people talking about, and I'm not really sure why. And that's Duke Thomas. And the way that his special is written right now on the Realms forum, I think the last word is not supposed to be there. I think it's supposed to be them. Friendly characters making close attacks modify +1 attack for each other friendly character to, and then it says there. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's them. So if it's friendly characters adjacent to them, and he doesn't even have to be the friendly character necessarily, but having a swarm team that can go and get +1 attack fed off of each other, that's pretty sweet. You could lead in with a retaliator and then follow in with other guys getting +1 attack. I like that. He's got Empower. He's 35 points. Gotham City, which is a nice keyword to play with. So, and martial artist, which isn't a bad keyword, but it's not top tier.
Right. Duke Thomas is okay in my book. He's not the best, but I do have him on my list as well. My next figure is I want to give honorable mention to Commander Steel, number 7. Number 7, Commander Steel. I think he's decent. The next one I'm looking at is Aqualad. And the main reason I'm looking at Aqualad is I feel like you can surprise people with the fact that you can use Energy Explosion, triple target, at 6 range and just pop that once per game. I think that's a nice little fun surprise to drop on someone. Also, upfront TK for Titans. I think that's worth it. So yeah, that's my next figure to sort of say, hey, this is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad.
Can I back you up one to the signal?
I knew we were going to talk about him. Okay.
All right. Look, I mean, 60 points. He can call in pretty much anything. We've got hypersonic, precision strike, prob, all good things. He ignores hindering for movement, which is also nice. And then he gets the improved targeting and takes away stealth, both friendly and opposing. That's awesome. So, and then adjacent characters modify damage +1, like just a static enhancement and empower together is pretty sweet. Unfortunately, it does work for opposing, but for 60 points, he's a bargain. And Batman ally, so he's got stealth.
I see, and that's I have a problem with it because you have line of fire to yourself, so they're going to have to errata him. Because functionally he takes away his own stealth.
Well, here's the thing: is he has to choose to do it. So, I mean, I think that's a fair trade-off for keeping his price low. Is that there's going to be times where if he wants to use his power, he gives up his stealth. But, I think that for 60 points, when you compare him to that Flash that we talked about for 50, I'll take him every day.
Okay. I'm mixed bag. I am a mixed bag on there. Now, again, hypersonic speed, prob, precision strike. That first click is really good. Is it quite rainbow magic? No. The leprechaun isn't running out on that one. So I think it's decent. It is a common prime, but that's really not an excuse because common primes can be broke. We all know this. Uh, my next pick is Prez Ricard, and
Yes.
yeah, Prez Ricard is my. I hate to say it. I feel like Prez Ricard is the figure that every other theme team needed, and this figure functionally gives it because you have a guy that doesn't count for or against theme team, and he could be put on any theme team and give them leadership. And there's a lot of teams that just need that one extra action and they can't afford it because their cheapest, leadership is like 60 points. I know for me, running Iron Man, there's a couple of variations of Iron Man that it just didn't work because the cheapest leadership is 60 points, or 55 points or something like that. So I like this. I think that this guy is probably going to be the most popular figure from this set in the long run. He is the most popular figure from the set.
Yeah, I think that's possible. And let's be honest, his leadership is really cool. He succeeds 50% of the time, and he can do the whole like taking tokens off of opposing characters to take tokens off of friendly characters, which I really like that because straight up, like if I'm about to kill you, I'm more than happy to take the tokens off of you.
Right, right. So again, Prez Ricard, probably the most. Oh gosh, it's probably going to be the most used figure from the set of all time. Uh, what's your next pick?
I'll be honest with you, that kind of ends the commons for me. So unless you have another common that you're really feeling,
I like Asian super. I like China Superman. I like China Superman. He's okay. He's not the best overall character of all time, but I think he's good enough to look at. I don't think he's good enough to take to like a WKO or a Rock, but I think he's good enough to look at. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Okay, so into the uncommons, I have Jericho at 50. And I know some people might say, "What, Jericho? Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, Jericho at 50." So he has the Titans Reborn. He also has that contact, which is mind control sidestep. When Jericho uses mind control to target a single character and hits until your next turn, when that character attacks, all friendly characters can use shape change that succeed on a 4 through 6. So you functionally can just say, I mind control you. My entire force has shape change against you when you attack, which I think is something to exploit. The icon shield at 32% of design limit. The fact that he has willpower, that he can use invincible instead of toughness when attacked by a character of lower points. That's a little bit harder to do at 50, but again, in the era of Pogs, that's not bad. Up front, Perplex, 8 range with his mind control. I like it. I like it. I think that this figure has a place in the game. I don't think people will gravitate to it, and I think that's going to be the problem for this figure. Is going to be in obscurity.
the one thing I thought would be kind of cool is actually running him with Prime Moira from X-Men Xavier School, because now we give him a triple target mind control. So that will really screw with a lot of teams at 300 because a lot of them don't really have more than 3 guys that are going to be dishing out attacks. And if all of a sudden all of your opponents have 50-50 shape change, that's pretty sweet
Yeah,
because she gives them triple targets. So
yeah. All right. What's your pick?
Kid Flash, the 75 pointer. Like at first it's another piece that I kind of wanted to skip over, but the more I looked at him, the more I was like, okay, that's not bad. If he doesn't KO people, he's got a 66% chance to heal a click, which, I mean, given that he's only dealing 3 damage at top dial, Yeah, it's a pretty good chance that he's going to get that. And he has the old Speed Force trait again, where you get +1 for your speed tokens after hitting with close attacks. But what I thought made him really cool was the fact that you could pick free either Force Blast, Smoke Cloud, or TK. And the combos that I liked was give him a Force Blast, so that way he runs up, knocks people back. That way he doesn't have to worry about breaking away. That's kind of nice. Or he picks TK, and after the resolution, when he gets his token, he TKs himself out of dodge. And so now he's put a nice little bit of distance between him and whatever he just punched in the face.
That or he can double tap things.
That's true also.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna say I'm further down with Prime Citizen Steel.
He's excellent. At 35.
And at 35. Yeah, Prime Citizen Steel at 35. And when Citizen Steel is hit with a close attack after resolutions, deal the attacker 1 penetrating damage. Like, he is all around says screw you to Colossal Retail. So, except for like range Colossal Retail, but functionally, he's just, in my opinion, he's just too much for most people to deal with as a retail. Now, would I take him over Signal? Yes, all day, every day. I also think a lot of people will like playing him. My concern is that going forward, I don't see him on any theme teams. Like Justice Society, I don't see that taking back off after Jakeem retires. And also Jakeem's a prime. So that's the limitation that I see.
Yeah, but at the same time, like being able to just shut down retaliation, maybe you don't need the theme.
Yeah, there's a couple of different viewpoints I have on that, but yeah, I think Citizen Steel is going to be used by the people that just hate retail. Yep. So, yeah. All right, what's your next pick?
Number 24, Veronica Cale. At 35 points, Godwatch and Scientist keyword. Scientist is great. You are no better than I. During force construction, if a character on your force has the Amazon or deity keyword, Veronica Cale gains that keyword. So I always like stuff that steals keywords. That makes me happy. Godwatch. If an opposing character has the Amazon or deity keyword, friendly characters with the Godwatch keyword modify their combat values by +1. Amazon keyword's not super common, but deity pops up quite a bit. So being able to go and buff stats on friendlies is always nice. I mean, granted, it's with the Godwatch keyword, but there's ways to manipulate that, like Eternity. Then the last one is Crush Wonder Woman and her legacy. Outwit, Perplex. When Veronica Cale uses Outwit to target a character with the deity keyword, she may choose 2 powers instead of 1. When Veronica Cale uses Perplex to target a character with the deity keyword, she may choose 2 different combat values instead of 1. So again, like if we were running her with an Eternity, and then you can run multiples of her, and you can just Perplex the crap out of him. +2 attack, +2 damage for, you're talking 170 points for him and 2 of them. Not a bad deal.
It's not. I think the issue is how you're going to get him a deity keyword, but that's another subject. We've talked about it a bit in Phoenix Nest about Veronica Cale and the potential that she has. I am not going to be anti Veronica Cale. I am neutral. I want to see her pop off before I commit to her. Like, there has to be a deity that I would like to see her played with. And I know someone said like Godflash, and it's like, okay, cool. But there has to be something else that makes me say like, yeah, I want to play that character with her.
Well, given that she's an uncommon, definitely pick up a couple of her. Yeah. And if you're wrong, you're out $2.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so let's go ahead. I'll move on. My next pick is Billy Batson at 40 and at 20. Um, Both point values are just ridiculous for the cost. I was complaining that a 20-point perplex was broken when it was Robin, and I still feel a 20-point perplex is broken. I haven't changed my stance on that. I think your perplex should start at 25 points. For the fact that I pay 40 and I can bring in a Shazam, I get a stop click and I bring in a Shazam. I think that's literally magical. And to quote the movie, lightning in my hands, lightning in my hands, lightning in my hands. That's a non-spoiler. But yeah, that's how I feel with Billy Batson. Lightning in my hands. So yeah, I'll throw it
Yeah,
back to you, Tom.
it's impossible to argue that because I mean, not only is he a great cheaper plex, but I mean, 20 points and you have to double tap him. That's awesome. And then his keywords are great: mystical, reporter, Justice League. Thank you, Justice Society. Okay,
Yeah,
no complaints here. And plus, when you turn him into Shazam, he's going to be considered a higher point character, so you can call in better things. And then when they kill him, they still don't score anything but the 40 points.
right.
All
And
good.
yeah, he's gold. So I definitely say that this is one of the better figures to have. Like this is the one where you want like three. You guarantee want three because he's just makes everything stupid. He, the only character that I feel like in the same point range is that's dumber than he is Alex Wilder, and that's it. But yeah. Okay, Tom, what's your pick?
All right. So this next one, I'm like really torn on. I always like things that do unique things. So whenever I see something like that, I always go to pick it up. And this guy, Tempest, number 28, he does that in that he has a smoke cloud is free, but he generates water markers instead of hindering. And then he has free choose an opposing character occupying water terrain within range, roll a d6, 3 or 4, give him an action token, 5 or 6, deal that character one penetrating. Like, that's really, really good. He has perplex top dial, which is nice, charge and super strength, which is okay. Mystical keyword, which I like. Atlantis keyword, which is okay. Teen Titans, I'll probably never play because I don't like Titans. All in all, I think he's a decent character. And what he does is just unique enough that he'll probably find his way into some niche teams.
Okay. I I don't know. I think Tempest is interesting. I think when we were talking about it last night, the part that grabs me with Tempest is the idea is like, look, you can do the stuff with Tempest and then combine him with King Aquaman. Uh, I thought that was sort of amusing.
Well, I also like combining him with the drown because then you get like the full effects of smoke cloud almost. Um, and I mean, there's other things too, like King Shark. I don't know. I feel like the potential's there. It's just got to be figured out.
Okay, fair enough. All right. I gotta be honest. Like most of the uncommons, I really was not feeling. So I'm pretty much done with the uncommons.
I have one more that I really really like, um, and that's Mr. Terrific. And I've gotten some pushback on it, and I get it. But I like autonomous, man. Being able to generate those T spheres, and there's weird things that you can do that people don't think about. Like if you did a Sam Cap team and you were running him, you could go walk across the map, generate a T sphere, have Sam Cap call in Iceman. Since it's right next to the T sphere now has inspiration to barrier, and it doesn't count against you. And you can throw up a barrier and you pulse wave. Like there's weird little interactions like that, and I also like just being able to attack something that know you're gonna miss and bring in your trouble alert when you need it.
Okay, now here's where I'm willing to meet you with that. With this Mr. Terrific. This Mr. Terrific gives you the option that if you're using JSA, that you functionally have a trouble alert like system that you can abuse. And I think that that's a good thing. I don't think it should just be Starro that should be able to do the trouble alert trick. I think that most teams, more different types of teams should have access to it. So I agree with that. I like him. I just don't like his cost. I think he's a little too high. And if the T spheres were able to perplex someone else, I would just be like, oh yeah.
I feel like if he was 50 points top dial, or I'm 50 points and they cut off a click, we'd all be about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I also feel like if his second click was actually his first click, that we'd all be about it. Because while Outwit's great, everyone loves Prob. And let's be honest, that second click, if you add +1 to his attack and +1 to his damage, he's at 12-4. Like, that ain't bad. And
yeah.
T-Spheres let him close attack within 6, which has some weird little interactions too, pending that they're actually next to the guy. But that's not hard to do. I like him.
Okay. All right.
The only other uncommon that I thought at least deserves some honorable mention, it's just too many points, is the uncommon, the Chinese Flash.
Oh.
If it were 75 and 50 instead of 175, he would find his way into the meta. Just because what he does is obnoxious with the stolen speed tokens and them having to actually move to clear. It's hurting their speed and their attack. It's cool. It's just not cool enough, but I thought he deserved an honorable mention.
Okay. All right. My next pick is number 33, Superboy.
I like it.
And the main reason I picked him is going back to this like cheap point theme with Teen Titans. When you look at how cheap he is for that team and all the things that he could just give to that team, like charge with a 14 movement. Hell, just a 14 movement. He's going to get to like where you want to be. He's not American Express. He's straight Visa card, baby. And with exospecs, now he's hypersonic speed 14. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'll pay that. I'll pay that in the additional late fees. You know what I mean? So, he comes in with this problem that I don't like about this set is that most of the stuff is short clicked. Like, I do not like 5 clicks at 75 points because he's just begging to get one-shotted in the current game state. But I like it.
To do it though. Like, because he has that invincible top dial, you're gonna have to outwit him to do it. So
right.
That's something at least. The one thing I really liked about him was, again, that sky high movement that you talked about. I mean, when you realize that you're charging for 7 right out the gate, whereas most people's movement is like 8, that's pretty nice. So yeah, I'm a fan. I think it's a nice piece. I don't think it'll see meta play, but I think that it's worth having.
Yeah, this is going to be you're being competitive casual.
Yeah.
Competitive casual. Actually, yeah. So, all right. Next up, what's your next figure?
So, I keep looking at it, and I have mixed feelings about it, but it's Lana Lang, Superwoman.
Okay.
Number 35.
Yeah, number 35, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's just interesting enough with the whole... she's got traded steel energy, but she does it with range attacks. And then when she gets hit with a range attack, she absorbs she gets the tokens, and then she can heal however many tokens -1. So she gets hit for 5. She can potentially heal 4. Or you can use that to increase stats, but really and truly, I think you're mostly healing. She has the potential to be like obnoxious in her survivability, but at the same time, she's not that deep. So, I mean, being 6 clicks at 125, that's that's not that hard to kill. So I have mixed feelings on her, I guess, is the end all be all there.
Okay, so here's how I look at it. She's 125. She is a little bit high. Her upfront damage value is great. Her attack value isn't. The fact that Superwoman and adjacent friendly characters have protected energy explosion and pulse wave takes you back to Superman Blue, which you're like, mwah, yes. It's like the best parts of Superman Blue and Red put together in one figure. Yay, finally. Okay. But also like the crappy attack values of Superman Red and Blue. And it's like, oh, this sucks.
Well, I feel like, again, she's just a lot of points. Like, 125 is that spot where you're like, this thing needs to be able to take a beating. And the fact that she can just get side blasted is what scares me about her.
Right. And to me, the biggest problem with Superwoman is that once you commit to a serious attack on her, she can't rally. Like, she doesn't have any movement attack. And I definitely would not commit like exospecs to her to make her good. And I don't think there's anything that you could commit to her to make her better and also do her bodyguard job. Because let's be honest, like, you're mainly playing her so that your opponents do not pulse wave your Pog Swarm or energy explosion your Pog Swarm or energy explosion your Colossals. She's on bodyguard duty. She's not out there fighting. And that's what really sort of sucks for her.
Yeah, I mean, for almost half your points, it's a little tough to swallow. But I like her.
Yep.
All right, you're up.
Shazam at 100, and that's really it. But also, like, Shazam to be called in by the Billy Batson. I mean, yeah, like I hate to say this, like, this makes me recall back to like George Masseu's when he won Worlds and he had the Etrigans and the Etrigans popped out and they had Perplex and Prob. And I'm just like, oh gosh, I'm like, this is almost exactly the same thing where Billy has Perplex and Shazam has Prob. And I'm just looking at this like, oh gosh, mwah, this is great. I don't think I don't think Shazam is a good 200 point figure. I think he is an adequate 100 point figure, definitely for Justice League. But I will also come back and say for Mystical, at 100 points, he's not good. There's more than enough stuff in Mystical that will take Billy's place. Same thing in Justice League, sorta. Deity, I'm not quite sure. But I do think that he's definitely going to be seen in multiples because of the Billy Batson the Billy Batson figure. So, like, gobble up the Shazams while you can. And like I said, lightning in my hands, lightning in my hands, lightning in my hands.
Well, I just want to put this out there, and that this is my one big thought on him. At least he's better than Shazam, God of Gods, which I hated that figure.
He is.
He really
Shazam,
is.
God of Gods was a horrible design figure.
Thank you. All right. I feel like we got to give love to the Prime Black Adam. It's a cool figure. At 100 points, I think it's cool. 200 points, it's a lot. It's like, I don't know. I think it's a cool figure. Anytime you can move for free and you have super senses down your whole dial, none of that's bad. And I like Destroy's blocking terrain. So, yeah, that's about it. I think it's worth saying he's not that bad.
The one thing I will say about Black Adam is he has the potential to equip himself for free. I mean, to get himself to the equip to whatever you decide to equip himself with, and he can equip on turn 1 without help potentially if you roll high enough. And I like that. the part that I think that Black Adam is going to fall behind on is like too many elements in this set. He's just going to get hit really hard and not be able to recover, and that's what I see.
That's fair.
But yeah, all right,
Um,
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say you're up.
Oh no, I don't have anything until the super rares.
uh,
Oh,
Raven.
sorry, I forgot Raven. I completely skipped over Raven. I have to add her to the list. I
Yeah,
forgot. That's
yeah.
sloppy.
Raven's a must-have. Like, there's no skipping her.
Yeah, I skip. I won't lie. When I was preparing for this, I was sort of like just pissed because I kept looking at things that I wanted to like, and then it's just like, nah, I can't like this. This sucks. Then I looked at something else. I'm like, oh, I like you as a character. Oh no, you suck. Then I look at stats. And I'm like, your dial's too short,
Yep,
and I just got more and more like nerd raged as the further I got into the set.
I gotcha. Well, Raven is an absolute must-have for both mystical and monster teams. At 50 points, she is just fantastic. Um, Psyblast, great. Prob, great. Perplex, great. Support, great. Like, carrying multiple, three people, awesome. Doing it with phasing, even better. So, yeah, I am all about this character. Um, she's one of my top 3 picks from the set.
She's up there. I'll say that. I definitely think she has to be a top five.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, everybody. I'm not rushing to get a bunch of these figures. I'm I'm if I see something that I think is a decent price, I'll pick it up. But I haven't seen anything that's made me say you gotta get this week one outside of well, the chases, but we'll get to that. Do you have any other rares that you want to talk about?
I think Shade the Changing Girl's funny for 45 points.
I agree.
Um, she's a deep enough dial that I don't think that she's like for 45 points and you're getting 6 clicks, you're paying less than 10 points a click. And she's got a shape change that is going to make people think twice about messing with her, a poison and a perplex. I feel like you'll get your mileage out of her.
I agree, but how is she 6 clicks, 45 points, and lot more other characters in this set? A lot of other characters, not a lot more. That's improper. A lot of other characters in this set can't
It's
even
because
get past five.
it's because she's got 9, 8, 7 on her attack stats and 1 across her damage. So I get it. I'm fine with it. She's a tie-up piece that poisons and is kind of obnoxious, and they have to be a little careful on how they hit her. So
I
yeah,
guess.
that's fine.
Okay, let's just go ahead and
Wait,
scroll
what?
back. Hmm?
I do like the Flash. I
I should
really,
have known.
really like that Flash. I'm sorry, I forgot about him. Um,
Okay.
so here's the deal. Uh, if he hits first in your turn, friendly characters with a Justice League keyword get prob. Like, he's 70 points. He's a weird Flash because he's phasing teleport with flurry and sidestep. And if he phases for 5, then he can do a close action at no cost. So you sidestep, you phase 5 more, so 7 movement, flurry. Unfortunately, you're not going to be perplexing that up because of the wording on it. So it's going to be 7 movement. But you flurry, you hit. He's got a perplex to make his attack stick, so he can be a 12 attack or he can be a 4 damage. I'm fine with either. And then we're going to turn around and give the rest of the team prob for the turn. Like, count me in. Granted, it's only for themselves, but my rolls suck. Giving an entire team prob sounds delightful.
Okay. I'm just not motivated to look at that Flash. Definitely with the heroes don't kill trait, I mean superpower, I'm really not motivated, but
Well, the nice thing is that's on his back dial. So while it is obnoxious, I don't expect to ever actually see that back dial. I expect someone to kill him really quick once they realize I'm giving prop to everybody and I'm flurrying them.
okay. All right, let's move to the super rares.
All right, now we're talking.
Yeah, Black Canary. Black Canary. And this is my pick for a couple of reasons. Number one, her bombshell ability. When Black Canary makes an attack targeting an opposing character, give her a bombshell token. So she gets it when she makes makes an attack. She doesn't have to hit. Okay, free if she has two action tokens, remove two bombshell tokens, then make a close attack. So potentially she can double tap, given enough time, or just perpetually attack. Running shot attack, she'll push, you know, and sorry, running shot attack, then attack again, push, and then on third turn she gets a free attack. Uh, but I also like is she has traded Force Blast, and then free remove a bombshell token. If you do this turn, all knockback damage caused by friendly characters is and opposing characters that can use charge or combat reflexes can be knocked back. Okay, so this right here makes her really strong. The fact that you're pulse waving, using force blast, knocking them back, doubling the knockback. So you're not doing two knockback, you're doing four knockback, which you're more likely to knock someone into a wall or off a building or elevated with that. And then, saying, hey, all if you do this turn, all knockback caused by friendly characters is doubled. So not just you, and opposing characters can use charge. Opposing characters that can use charge or combat reflexes can be knocked back. I think that that's gold. It's just really good. Uh, so yeah, I like it. Uh,
Yeah,
so yeah,
I
I mean,
think
and I'm not even talking about Jive and Whale. That also is good too because you can in cap people. So yeah,
I actually believe that post rotation that the bombshell team may actually need another look to see if it could find its way into the meta because there's a lot of weird little things you can do with those teams, and I think once somebody cracks it, that team has a very good shot of making a splash.
or an explosion.
That
That too. We got jokes here on Starting Over Podcast. All right, what's your pick in the super
all
rare
right.
category?
This is like the one must-have from the set that I absolutely positively will get. Mr. Oz.
Yeah, I agree.
Like at 40 points, he's busted. And I mean, his 100-point dial is not bad at all. Like you can totally make an argument for it, and I get it. But at 40 points, being able to effectively put yourself to an upgraded version of the old TK, to where you can actually move someone 8 squares again, that's amazing. And then to turn around and nerf your opponents, that's even better. And the fact that other TKs on your team can feed off of that too, like that's awesome. And then a see through everything 12 square prob, count me in. Like 40 points for that, yeah, I'm in all day long. And the fact of the matter is, with Superman team ability, hyper time team ability, stealth, he's going to be hard to hit, and I can start copying those team abilities, which is great.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm all in on this.
My my thought process is Mr. Oz at 2 clicks has more value than most of the figures in the set. And that to me is sad and frustrating at the same time. You would think that a little bit more design love would be spread around the set a little bit better. And I look at Mr. Oz and I can clearly say there is maybe one or two cosmic teams that won't run him. I only see one or two cosmic teams that don't have a reason to run him. Like every cosmic team should be running him. And even every scientist team should be running him.
Yep.
So, I
And
mean,
if you're dumb enough to play Kryptonians, Kryptonians too.
yeah. I don't know why Kryptonians might be meta because of him. I don't think he's unique either.
Here's the thing: is there's no point in running more than one of him. Just because I feel like the law of diminishing returns kicks in. Like you could find other cheap TKs or even call-in TKs that still benefit off of his ability, and it's not like his ability stacks. So effectively, like if you wanted an extra TK prob, then yeah, sure. But I feel like there's probably better ways to spend 40 points. I don't feel like people will really need more than one.
Well, let's ask
So
ourselves this.
I've been wrong plenty of times. So
All right, let's ask ourselves this. It just says telekinesis. Whenever a character is placed by telekinesis after resolutions, you may place that character within 2 squares in line of fire of their current square. There's nothing saying that that's unique.
well, it happens after the resolutions of the TK, but the thing about it is the next thing that would happen is they would be placed by that action. So I don't think that it would stack.
Mm, I don't know because
I would wait for a ruling on it. If the
I
ruling
I mean yeah,
stacks, then yeah, load up on them.
and that's sort of my thought. Because if it stacks, then yes, you're going to see double Mr. Oz, or I wouldn't say triple because triple to me would be too overcommitting, too much of an overcommit. But a double Mr. Oz to me to creep an extra 4 squares on any TK that I do, like yeah, you're giving me classic TK at that stage. So like not like folks forget like TK used to be 10 and they dropped it down to 8 and then they dropped it down to 6. So you're getting like OG TK if it'll stack. So I think Mr. Oz is probably going to be one of those figures that's going to be expensive. Uh but yeah, Mr. Oz is definitely on my list. I want Star Fox to I mean not Star Fox, Starfire to be on my list. I can only justify her at 50. I know Easton Brock is out there looking at me. He's like, Edward. I see him in Lucky Dice shaking his head.
Nah, dude, I'm with you. 50 all the way.
He's just shaking his head. He's like, no, this is Coriander. She came back to me. They saw her and she came back to me. I knew she loved me. And yeah, like, but yeah, I can't see justifying playing her more than 50 points because at 50 points, I feel she gives so much offense to a team. And you have a stop click. Like I learned my lesson from Wolverine. I'm not underestimating that anymore. Like you have to attack her twice. I'll say that.
Yeah, and I mean, again, cosmic keyword, stop, click, running shot, pulse wave, 7 range, 2 targets. Like, there's not much bad to say about her.
Right. Now I will say this: we could see ourselves set up to have something to overthrow the current cosmic rule. Like Black Panther was the first challenger to the throne of Unimind for cosmic. And I think we're starting to see a lot more diversity in cosmic, and not just the Captain Marvel teams, but you also have like Black Panther. Maybe we could see some multiple Corianders with some Doctor Oz, thrown in there. He has the medicine for you. So yeah. But all right, what's your next pick?
Okay, so I wanted to like this figure, but she's not quite doing it for me. But she does have something that's useful that I really do like, and that's Jessica Cruz.
I knew you'd say that.
Now, in Modern, I'll probably never use her. But I do like that she's a taxi. I like the TK. I like that she can move and then TK after carrying. But the thing I liked about her is that she can shut off Battle Fury. And so I kind of would like to see her in a Golden Age game with, Shriek. So basically, you slap a power battery on the team, you give Shriek a sniper rifle. Next thing you know, you carry up you need to carry someone, you turn off Battle Fury, and then they can shoot when they need to. So it gets awkward for people. I like that. But
You and your golden age.
you know me, man.
Yeah.
That's my thing. But
Yeah.
as far as like modern, she's not good. Like I wish she was. She's a Green Lantern, but we have other Green Lanterns for cheaper that are arguably better.
Yeah. I'm going to say It's a Trap is number 57 Deathstroke. He's not that good. He's
casual only. Like
yeah.
if you're playing a more relaxed casual game, he's cool. And I will say this, I think somewhere someone will come up with something cool to do with him. Because he has the soldier keyword. Like he's just quirky enough that you could do neat stuff with him. But when you're pushing the same point value as Unimind, man, like
when you push the same point value as Black Panther, I think that's something else too.
Yeah, like the other stuff in his weight class is just better. So
yeah,
but I like him. I just don't think he's competitive.
Yeah, I agree with you. I realistically, to me, I don't think there's a lot of good super rares. Like you have a Superman in the set, and he's okay. Like it's almost like they tried to bring back, like Icon Superman, sort of, and just made him like, here's a straightforward Superman, and he has a lot of good stuff here at the end, and there you go.
I will say this for Superman, he plays like a Golden Age Superman that we grew up on. Like especially the whole like phasing teleport charge effect that he kind of has, where he can pop underneath blocking terrain and then pop up and create hindering. Like that feels like something right out of the old cartoons, and so I kind of like that. But
right.
He's not gonna do anything in competitive.
I think the other thing with Superman, I think Superman's biggest problem is he was designed to be a one-man army light. He was designed to be a one-man army light. It's like, oh, what? We tied down Superman. It's like, well, no, citizen, I'm going to just phase away. Ha ha! And then if I get far enough away from you, I will quake. Like, I don't. There's a couple of things that I think that weren't thought out properly, if that makes sense. There's some things I think are interesting, but I don't think that are thought out properly. But it allows him, and in my opinion, this Superman is a Superman that's designed for a person that never had a good Superman heroclix to have a chance of having one. And if you like Superman, you like Justice League, he is a good enough Superman. I give him a B+. He's better than the one from World's Finest that was 200 points.
And really and truly, with those Super Friend Trouble Alerts all having Justice League, and Billy having Justice League, like there's enough stuff that you can fill out a team and really be pretty threatening with him. It's just not probably going to be a top tier team
yet.
Yeah, I hate to say it like that. We keep saying yet with Justice League, and
I know
they're just not giving us enough sets to flush it out before they retire, and that's where the problem with Justice League is.
Well, you and I have talked for a while
about a year. Yeah, if we got 2 DC a year, maybe, but we're averaging 1 a year, so
yeah. I know there's fans out there that are love that Bizarro. I don't know. I'm not feeling Bizarro. I think he's decent.
I like anything that when I hit you, I put tokens on you. But I will never play the Outlaws unless maybe I'm drunk. I don't know. Like, they're just not that great. Um, so yeah, I just probably would never play him.
Okay, so that's a little straightforward. Unless drunk, never going to play. All right. All right. So let's just go into the chases because this is where this all comes to a head. And I know mostly people will be like, "Hey, wow, this is a fast set review. We've just hit an hour." Like, yeah, it's a
Shit's
fast,
a bad set.
it's a bad set. Uh, so this is where I'm going to elaborate and say this is crap. Red Death is crap. He should not be crap. But if I'm paying 200 points, unless I'm able to attack multiple times, I should never have a 3 damage. Ever. You need to be giving me like old KC Flash numbers, like 17, 18 hypersonic speed, stuff like that. Don't soft shoe me like with a 3 damage prop and all this other BS. No, I don't want that. And then you can generate these red storm markers. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it because I mean, we know from Quicksilver that you can just zone those. Definitely after everything got errated in the changes to hypersonic speed, it's not good. This is a very bad old design with the rules being different. So
Yeah,
what?
I'd like to argue it with you, but I literally just can't. It's not good.
All right. Next up is Murder Machine.
I'll take 2.
I wanted to hate Murder Machine until I played against one and I saw what it could do, and then I was just like, oh yeah, this is if they ever give us another Batman ID card where I can use real names, yeah, Murder Machine for real. Like he's going to kill stuff. And I'm almost tempted to say at 200 he's playable. I don't quite think he is. At 100, he's definitely playable. And realistically, at 100 in Golden Age, he's in some cases an auto win.
Well,
Yeah.
I will say this. Expect to see him pop up a lot at the Majestics Opens because they will have that ID card, and you are exactly right about that. Like, being able to call him in and blow up some pogs with an energy explosion, and then next thing you know, you have a stack of attacks and you just keep killing stuff. Like, that's hard to say no to.
It is. So,
And
yeah.
I mean, in Modern, especially with a keyword like robot and the PJ Bolins of the world out there playing it, like, yeah, that'll go.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Next up, Dawnbreaker, my nemesis and my love. I hate to say this in the buy two. And it's just for the fact that there is too much stuff that you can do right now to guarantee that you get better pogs. Okay. And that's my frustration is that if I know I can give my opponent a pog and I'm generating pogs, then I can just like, oh, I'm going to give you a pog because of, reasons Groot. Okay, guess what? I have a super pog. I have a super version of that pog because you generated a pog. Now I generate that pog. And I know some people have said, well, Edward, what if you don't face a pog army? And I'm like, tell me when having running shot, Green Lantern team ability, 7 range, access to barrier, in enhancement, psychic blast 11-3 at 75 points has been bad at this game. And then I would tell you, sir, if that's ever been bad in this game, you, sir, are new. Or you've been high playing heroclix. Because like this is ridiculous. Like 200 points, no one's ever playing that. I'll agree. But 75 points, Like there are points and times in HeroClix history, people would have given their left arm for that figure. You know.
Well, and one thing I will say is should always be a 20D from range. Like, well, I take that back. After his first click, he should always be a 20D because when he goes into the energy shield deflections, you're going to get a +1 for standing in the middle of nothing. And then he's going to get ESD. So he's going to be a 20, 21 to hit on his back dial. That's awesome. I don't see myself buying more than one of him. The reason being is that is a May on the generate. So, you don't have the whole like, my opponent has a Dawn Break. So I made this. Then my opponent makes it. I make an even better one on top of that. But, he's cool. I think that he's worth buying. I think that, in particular, Monster really got a lot of help that it needed this set.
Yeah.
Between Dawnbreaker and Raven, in particular, like that did wonders for Monster that it desperately needed.
Right. Yeah, I agree. All right, the Drowned.
I like the Drowned.
So I am not. I'm not there.
The Drown is one of those pieces that it has to be on just the right team. Like it's a very niche piece again, but there's a lot of stuff that really does take good advantage of water. And so again, the majority of teams, you're not going to get your money's worth, but you get on a water team and it does some crazy stuff. And the fact that when it's in water, its damage dealt is penetrating. So even its poisons are penetrating. Like that's not a bad deal. I like it.
Okay. So let's go on because this Merciless, I can't really stomach it. I think it's horrible.
I agree. Open trash, insert figure, move on.
Yeah. It would be different if it started with a special power, like it was like a charge flurry type thing.
That's literally what bothered me the most about it is they have all these cool powers on this figure, but they don't want to start you with them. And it's like I have to let someone wail on my awesome figure in order for me to get anything cool out of it. Like, no, we're good. 225, no. 150, absolutely not. So no, I'd pass.
All right, then there's Devastator, which I felt was the is the only one that I actually thought like, could I play this at 225? And the answer is yes. Like that's the only one that I've seen so far that I'm like, oh, I'll play this at full. I will never play this at half points.
I would put him in the trash right next to the Merciless.
I didn't say he was good. I said I would play him.
I view him as almost unplayable. Like the fact that he can get outwitted. I mean, he's got a deepish dial, but you're buffing opponent's stats. I feel like he just dies. Like anytime you got a big brick that has no range and doesn't have any like amazing movement ability, they just die, and that's what he'll do.
Okay. All right, Batman Who Laughs. This is another disappointment because you generate Pogs. Or generate, a Robin, and he ran around with like a pack of Robins, and he can't do that because he only could just generate one Robin. I think his values that he has are crap. Like I think he should have been 150, maybe 175, not 175, 150 at full and 75 at low. I think that's what he should have been. But he was made to be pretty much crap. Like I hate saying this over and over again, but he's a mass control in a game where his control isn't good enough. Like he's out in the open, he's going to get shot. Yeah, he's an 18 defense, but that's not good. That's okay. There's not an incentive for me to come in and close and have to punch him, or else he's going to do something, stupid. Or if he's even adjacent to an opposing character, that character has battle fury, or that character, he has a taunt effect. Like, you have to attack the Batman who laughs, because in that book, every time the Batman who laughs got up on you, you weren't doing anything else. You had to deal with him. There wasn't a guy in the background. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go and take care of this. No, the Batman who laughs killed that guy. So I feel like there's a missed opportunity here.
He's just bad. Like, the Robin is cool, but any halfway decent player should have no problem putting him down every time. And that's where it ends right there.
Okay. All right. So let's end up with Barbados. And I think Barbados is I feel like he's bouncing on the edge of the precipice. Like, he's either going to go in and he's going to be this build that brings about madness in the heroclix community, or he's just going to rock back into safety. I don't know. He has a bunch of different things that I think that are great at 100. At 100 points, I think he's useful. He has the Assemble an Army of Nightmares. Friendly characters with the monster keyword can use Batman enemy team ability. Friendly characters with the Dark Knights keyword can use the Batman ally team ability, which you really don't need them to have in most cases. But that gives him Batman enemy in Dark Knight in Quint. So that's nice. Drag you into the Dark Multiverse, phasing teleport as free, but only move 4 squares. And when he does, after resolution, adjacent opposing characters have immobile until your next turn. So, he could just lock characters down just by moving. The damage power, so falls the realm of light. Opposing characters within 6 squares that can use Outwit, Perplex, or Support can use Battle Fury. So you automatically lock down most of your support figures. All your X-Men, when they come in for, like all your Headmasters, they all have Battle Fury. Now, that sucks for Wolverine, but yeah, Cyclops is screwed. Like, to know that, it's a lovely thing. The attack power in your stories 1 by 1, steal energy, power, make any number of close attacks, each targeting a different opposing character. I like that because he can heal up from each one. So that's not bad either, considering that you can phase for free, and move up, choose to take, do something, choose to take pushing damage or whatever. Or no, take that back. You can phase up for free, lock somebody down. If they hit you, you just punch them up again. And if you get back to top click, you just phase, and you're like, yep, y'all are immobile, and we start this all over again. So I think there's a lot of control there. And I think he can jack up a lot of different types of teams. I do not see someone getting around all of his stuff.
I'm curious to see how they're going to rule his drag you into the dark multiverse. If he has to remain next to you for you to be immobile, which in theory he shouldn't have to. If he does, then he's not that great. If he can turn around and then phase away, he's pretty amazing. And again, anytime you give love to monster keyword, like giving out the ability to go and take Surtur's attack stat, I'm in.
Yeah.
Maybe not Surtur, but I forget it. Whatever monster.
Any colossal retail, and you can just bring in and bump their stat. Like, if you have an 11 attack there, Groot colossal retails next to it. Now Groot has a 12 attack when he attacks, if he's not on a Guardians of the Galaxy theme team. So yeah, things like that I think are really good. Let's talk about the Fast real quick. I think it's a mixed bag. I like the Flash and Cyborg, but that's pretty much it.
The only one that I think is actually halfway decent in my eyes is the Batman. And the only reason is TK and Outwit at 50 points. It's with sidestep. It's not bad. I kind of hate everything else in the set. So.
Fair enough. All right, that's it.
What about Mr.
So
Terrific? Like, are we gonna give the OP kit Mr. Terrific any love?
I think he's going to be broken. I think that he is what will be without tilting a hand too much. I think that he is a figure that has the potential to change how Nats plays. Like that's how I feel right now.
I think that what he does is really cool because a lot of times I'm only looking to put 1 or 2 perplexes on my team. And there's other guys that are putting like 4 or 5 perplexes on their team or enhancements or whatever. So being able to kind of like be like, hey, we're gonna level the playing field. I like that. Outwit's good. I wish he had prob up top instead of outwit, but whatever.
Right.
I like him.
I think he is the control that the game needs right now. I feel like he is a more balanced version of Nighthawk Prime. I think that's the best way to put it. He affects your team and he affects your opponent's team. He is a balanced version of Nighthawk Prime.
No, I think that if we're using balance as vastly inferior, then yes, but I think he's good.
He's also a lot cheaper and not a prime.
He's 15 points cheaper. I mean, Nighthawk is better, but we don't have Nighthawk, so we'll take what we get.
We'll just take what we can get. All right. Okay. So
one last thing, and it's not related to that, but I distinctly remember somebody by the name of Edward Shelton just won something recently, didn't they?
Oh yeah, I won Missouri States. Yeah.
Oh yeah, congrats on being the state champion. Figure that should probably be said on your podcast.
Yeah. That is sort of hilarious. Yeah, you do have a point on that. Also, I sort of took in the my April Fool's joke a bit, and I enjoyed it. The fact that the interdimensional me was like, yeah, I can't get a podcast out every week, but I'm still hot stuff, and I'm like, yeah, let me just ride that a little bit and not put out a podcast for a little bit. So yeah. Anyway, also shout out to you because you got second place at Florida States. So
actually third, because the way they did not do a top cut. So even though I lost in the finals, there was one person that ended up just ahead of me.
Oh.
But that was deeply disappointing. But at the end of the day, the turnout was smaller. So if they had done a cut, it would have been the first and second place guy anyway. Because if you're 10 people, you only have to do a top 2. And for whatever reason, they were like super excited to do battle royales. So, at the end of the day, I would have landed where I landed, but it was good. I had fun.
Yeah. So and the main reason I'm super hyped on that is I've been trying to get Tom to so many big events throughout the years. I think this is like the 3rd or 4th bigger event that I've gotten him to.
Yeah, it's unfortunately very hard for me to find the free time, but hopefully next year I'll take Florida.
Yeah. And then also next time I have Tom on, hopefully we're not playing a game of heroclix that I upload and call Hardcore Casual. Yeah. The feedback on that one was hilarious. It's like, this one will not get past the safer word filters. That was the best one. All right, so that's it for today's show. I think we functionally would give this set like a C minus, or a C. I'll give it a solid C. There's stuff that's interesting, but you don't go broke on this. Yeah. So you can follow me on Twitter at StartOverPod. It came from outer space and told that in Dimension 5XC, there is a hummingbird that lands on a flower, and when it extracts the nectar, the flower turns into a tree. It's a wonderful planet. So it's a wonderful planet to be on. All right. You can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. Yeah, let me know what you think of this set and everything that you sort of wish was in it. Let me know if you think my ranking is wrong or our assessments are wrong. You can also, if you'd like to donate to the show, go to startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. There's a donate button, and everything goes to making the show better. I'd like to thank my guest, Tom, for coming on again, and thanks for listening. And like always, we all have to start over sometime.